Joined now by Illinois head coach Bret Bielema here in Kansas City for the 2023 NFL Draft. Bret, you said this is the first time you've been able to go to the draft. Just what's the experience like, and what are you looking forward to seeing here?
Very excited. My recruiting and personnel staff hit me up on it a couple months ago and said this is something we should do. When I was at Wisconsin, Arkansas, we had first rounders, but I never really crossed this path, right? It was something I just didn't have on my radar, but to see the journey come to a culmination tonight, wherever Spoon goes, it's going to be awesome to watch it. We're actually flying to Canada tomorrow to be with Sydney and Chase Brown, and Aaron's going to see Quan. So to share this journey, but to have the process from when we first got to know him to where we are now, but to have that draft night be possible is pretty cool.
Yeah, and like you said, Spoon here tonight is going to be the highest drafted Illinois player since 1996, it seems like. Just what have you seen from him and his growth that has led them to this moment, to now?
You know what? I think more than anything, they realize his best football is in front of them. I've talked to, I think, every NFL owner, GM, head coach in the last 3 months, and to have them understand that he's playing really good football, but this last year has been really a rocket to where he is today, and I think it's going to continue to get better. Just maturity-wise, physicality, all those things are there, but I still think the best football is probably a year or two ahead of him.
We all know the Brown twins' journey and their story. What is it going to mean, like you said, going to Canada, being with them for that moment when they have made it and get drafted?
For me as a head coach, I'd taken over at Wisconsin from within, so I really knew a lot of those players. And then when I went to Arkansas, I took over a new program, and I knew and I learned from that experience that I had never had a chance to really be in the home and recruit the kids that I inherited. And Chase and Sydney are great examples of I was never been able to go to Canada. I've never been able to be on their home turf. So when this chance came to be with them on draft night tomorrow night and share that experience with them and show them how much they meant to me, because I know for us in our program they've done a lot of great things, and to give them that moment when they get their name called will be really special.
And a guy like Quan, who, we think about this time last year, probably wasn't on the radar to get drafted, but to come out and have the season that he had, what does it mean seeing him go from where he's come since you met him?
It's a great leap of faith, and again, I go back to just the journey we've had with him. When we first got there, he's a good player who had started some games, but I think at the end of his first year with us, I began to realize how much value he had, what he could do, how we needed to get him on the field, and then basically last spring, there were a couple practices when he got done, and I was looking at Aaron Henry, and I would be like, man, Quan's playing at a different level. His ability to jump, break on the ball, understand the game. He's an incredibly professional person. To me, of all the picks, he's got probably the highest basically value. He's able to play multiple positions and do multiple things, and I think that's what the draft people recognize.
Spring practice is over, but the portal is still open, and business is moving right now. How are you keeping up with that as a head coach between the outs and maybe some ins too?
Yeah, it's Thursday. It's open till Saturday. I would say that anything that we've had happen to us right now isn't anything that we knew was going to happen. We knew that those moves were probably going to be made. Those are things that kind of happen in our program. We usually see these things coming pretty clear out. The good thing is when these kids leave, to this point, every kid that's left, we've been able to have a handshake and a hug. A lot of times, a lot of emotions because they've opted to go on to a different opportunity that probably gives them more of an opportunity to be on the field, which I totally understand. Everybody wants to complain about NIL and the portal and all that goes into it. I think it's a great thing. We've been able to have access to players that have come in and helped us. Players that were struggling to get on the field for us have been able to move on and play at different at venues. So I think it's just crazy. I see some of these kids getting drafted now who were portal transfers that were great players for the teams they were on, and I to this point, fortunately, have not been able to feel that pain, but that's the part that really scares me, that eventually that may happen. But at this point right now, the kids that have left us are moving on to better opportunities.
Back to the draft as a whole, is there any player from the Big Ten that you, as a coach at the college level, maybe are happy that they're leaving in the Big Ten? You don't have to play them as much anymore? I
think Laporte, the tight end at Iowa, I'm kind of glad we don't have to defend him anymore. But there's a lot of really good players. We didn't play Ohio State, the last 2 years, so to see that, I have great respect for Coach Day and to see the players that they've had out. So I know a lot of those guys are going to go off the board. But really, of all positions, a couple of linemen at Minnesota, I'm not going to be disappointed not to see anymore. So I think in this league, you can be guaranteed that every year you're going to see good players, good people, good coaches that do things the right way.
And any KC hot spots you're going to hit up before you leave?
We're kind of just in and out. We got here late this afternoon. I've been on the phone all day, got a quick workout, and then tomorrow we leave to go to Canada. So it's going to be Really, the green room at the draft is about as big as it's going to get in here in the Marriott lobby, but after that, it'll be good.
All right, Bret, thanks so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Absolutely. ILL.